Hi guys, Raynal here. If you haven't seen the news yet, we are getting one more chance to vote for a unit of our choice that is going to be made into a UR version. We already know it's going to be a winter UR version, so probably something happening in 10 months from now, but I guess we'll see. And this time it has to be a unit of MR or lower rarity, so we can't vote for existing URs, which I think is very exciting. Last time we had a vote, it ended up being Zazan that was chosen, and the design he has visually, and then as a unit, is actually stellar. It's an incredibly good unit that they've made that's not completely unbalanced either, so I'm very much looking forward to what will happen with this vote here. Now, the way this is going to work is we are going to be voting every day for 14 days, until the 13th. And then, during the live stream, they're going to take the top 3 units that we voted for, and they're going to determine who wins and who's going to be made into a UR unit from there. And then you basically, if you want to vote, you go on this website once a day, vote for the unit you pick. We'll also get some fun rewards depending on how many votes there are. That's cool and all. But what I want to talk about today is the units that I think really deserve a spot in UR territory. And I'm going to talk about 5 of them. Now, when I talk about a unit, I will be basing my arguments on 2 things. Their story impact and their personality, because their looks are going to change, their kits are going to change, so we can't really take a look at anything else. And there will be some story spoilers in what I say, so if you haven't done anything about the game in terms of story and you don't want to get spoiled, well, sadly this is not a video for you and you should probably pause right now. So let's begin with Adelaide. I've already seen quite a few people recommend him. That guy is a badass in the story. He's there for quite a while, he's always counseling, always has really good advice, he's very intelligent, and I feel like he's a well-written character. He's always consistent, but then his side story. He was there deflecting bullets from Lucia for basically days, and he was fighting a UR unit that with her whole reputation as a incredibly good fighter. He just held his own. I definitely think he would be a badass unit to have, and he's one of those MR units that isn't really played. He's not especially good in cost-restricted content. I've basically never seen an Adelaide be played, and it would be it would be fun to see him in game. If he didn't wear his typical red mage suit, I would not even know what job he was, so definitely deserves a little bit more showing. I would love to see him as a UR for this reason. Now, next up is a unit that I've heard people call the true main character of War of the Visions, and it's Seymour. Definitely a real badass in the story. I like his personality, I like the way he interacts, and his side story with Gilgamesh compels me quite highly to see the next steps, whereas the main story with War going on at one country and one the other just doesn't drive me as much. I really want to know what is the mysterious stuff going on with Gilgamesh, and then the swords of those samurai of the East. I just want to know more about him, and I would be thrilled to see him as a UR version. I think he's a really good contender for this. One thing about Seymour, though, is that he is already playable as an MR unit. I think out of the units in my list, he is the strongest one. He sees play in manual content, he sees play in cost-restricted content, because he can easily reach 1500 attack and then deal crazy damage. So he's one of those that is already somewhat viable as an MR, but clearly a UR version would be a lot better than what he currently is. Next up, we have Dario. Now, the main reason I want to vote for Dario is because he's been hinted during the story as this super powerful character that could change the course of war if he went to the battlefield. But he never really got the chance to do that because he dies very early on during a side story, which is a little sad. Even then, during his side story, he's been a much better father to his yet-to-be-born child than Elde will ever be. That's good. But I want to know what he could have been. Like, if he had not been sick, and if he had unleashed his power, what would have happened? And I think giving Dario a UR version is giving him the chance to be that character. So, definitely interested to see more of him. He's also one of those MR units that is somewhat viable. I've seen him a little bit in cost-restricted content, but not a lot. He hasn't seen a lot of play in War of the Visions. Next up on my list is Curry Wazette. Now, maybe a weird choice, but I feel like he's so impactful in the story. He's there since the beginning, he's been annoying, he's been a very well-written, intelligent villain that has his plan, that knows what he's doing, and it would just fit his character to have a trump card where he reveals he was a UR unit all along, basically, and just takes out way more people than he could normally. So I would just love that. And then how better to fit the winter theme than to name a Wazette unit as the unit we pick? So it would be an interesting call for sure. Now, I have seen a little bit of MR Curie play, but not that much. It's really a couple niche players and manual shenanigans that have built him as an EX unit. So yeah, it would be just fun to see a little bit more of him, and it would be true to character to have a UR version of him that just reveals what he's been hiding all along. And then finally, we have the first woman on my list, who's Liarte. Why her? It's really not so much her role in the story or anything else, it's the fact that she's the Whimsy Shop owner, and I feel like there is a concept of a character waiting right there. We see her pop selling her Whimsy Shop stuff every day, basically, when we're farming War Divisions, and I want to see something themed around this, where she comes around, sells stuff, has her own cart during a battle. I don't know what she'll do related to items or selling, but there is a character concept waiting to happen right there, and it's something I would be thrilled to see. Now, I talked about 5 units. There are so many of them. It's really hard to name everybody on that list and their reasons. Like, I love Alim's visual design. She's awesome. But what I mostly love about her is the visual, which will change when she's a new unit. So that one doesn't make much more sense for me. You guys probably know me as a big fan of Nasha, which I am. I really love Nasha and I want to vote for her. But her personality in the story has turned me off a little bit. She doesn't seem to have much character development. She's the same unit today than she was on day 1. And because of that, I don't feel like a UR unit will drive her forward that much. I would be very excited to see someone like Marielle get a UR version, but I have some hope for play in her MR version, so, you know, we'll still see her in the game. Really tough decisions overall, but what I really want to hear about is, what is you guys' opinion? Are there any units I did not name that you guys are very excited to see? I know there's a community of people around that are Sosha fans, for example. Just name the unit you like, explain me why, and I'll be very happy to reconsider my votes based on that. Otherwise, I'll probably out there alternating my votes between the 5 units I've named because I just want all of them to have a shot. So this is it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.